Good morning, Long Island, and welcome to the second show of Realty Connects Long Island with our hosts, John Fitzgerald and Michael Artolino. I'm Corinne Caro here today with these two very, very inspirational and exceptional guys, and I'm so happy to be doing this show with you again on the Daily Blue. Last week, listen, let's get right to the nitty gritty. Last week was our warm-up, right?
Yes, it was. It was a great show.
It was a great show. What a huge response you got from the public. I mean,
It really was.
Hundreds of views.
We were impressed with how many people viewed it, how many people called in, how many people
Yeah.
got
It
excited
wasn't
about the
my
show.
kids, and
Yeah.
it wasn't my wife. I mean, people actually watched.
did anybody say anything about the hair? Did anybody ask about rubbing for good luck or anything like that? I think that we learned a lot last week. We talked about things that are current in the market, specifically for Long Island. We compared how Long Island follows or mimics California. That was very interesting. We talked about what we're going to be discussing on the show. And we also talked about what was current. Right now, we got to talk about that. We
And
have to,
I agree with you 100%.
mortgage and rates. We
Interest
have the
rates
newspapers out.
and what's going on and the message that the public is getting, that really has to be sort of described or explained so that there's a clear understanding.
Yeah, drilling
of it.
into that is real important, because you get a sound bite, you get a piece of information. John's gonna talk about something that's out, current news today on Long Island.
Right.
And we're gonna get into that a little more in depth, so that it's easier to understand. And once you
Yes.
get beyond the sound bite, what it means.
Yeah, because I mean, from a layman's point of view, that you look at this and you just think, oh my goodness, the home prices are up, yay! But what does it really mean?
There's
What does
more
it mean
detail
for
there.
people
There's
that
more
want
when you
to?
drill in. And that's
Yeah,
what we're gonna talk
and
about.
that's a great statement, because most people will look at, this is a recent article that was published in the business section of Newsday, and it's a very informative article, and it's a very accurate article.
Okay.
However, it can be easily misinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about average sale price and median sale price, and the average sale price is, of course, the average of all the houses that have sold and what that average price is. The median sale price is just a mid-price range between all the houses that have sold. There's been an equal amount below that price and an equal amount above that price.
Right.
Neither one of those are really clear indicators that a market's gone up.
Okay.
All right. But when you read an article like this, and Michael and I talk about it all the time, our clients or the consumers might say, just as you said, oh, thank God, the market's gone up, life is great, we're
Yes.
gonna make all this money.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
And then you bump into somebody out there, or you're speaking to a client, or you're speaking to just someone out there in the public, and they say, gee, I just read the article, I just saw this on the internet, and prices are up. And then you need to say, well, gee, yeah, that's true. However, let's talk about what that means, and you need to
Right.
get into the median price
Yeah, do
and the
you
average
think,
price.
do you think that you have to kind of give a reality check for that person that says, home prices are up, so now I can
Yes,
answer the highest price for
yes.
my house right now,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So give me,
Yeah.
I mean,
I can give you a really good example of it in that what's happened in the market in the last, say, 60 or 90 days.
Mhm.
We have a guest on today's show, Dennis
Oh,
Murphy,
excited.
who can
Really
expand on
excited.
this quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're very excited about Dennis being on the show.
Yeah, he's a pretty special guy.
Yeah.
He's a great agent. He works here at Realty Connect USA. He's one of the top performers.
One of the
We've
hottest
seen his
people
name a
out
lot,
there,
I
yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
see his name a lot.
So we'll bring Dennis on in a little while, and he'll
Can't wait.
expand on this, but what's happened in the last 60 to 90 days is first time, or people who are just entering into the market, buyers who are buying their first home, very excited about it,
Mhm.
have jumped into the market, and because of the change anticipated in interest rates and the rates having gone up, they've bought up all the homes that may be below that median sale price that we were at.
That they see when they look
6
at
months
the
ago.
sound
Oh,
bite.
how
Yeah.
interesting.
So now, the secondary buyers who sold those houses are able to move on up to the next house that they wanted to buy.
Mhm.
That's a higher price range. So now it appears that houses have gone up because in a median or an average sale price, you're seeing a higher number.
Right,
That just means that the range below that has already sold off, and now a higher price range of houses are selling, so there's a higher average or a higher median sale price. Doesn't indicate that the price of the houses have gone up, just the houses that are being purchased at a higher price.
And those
And
are the,
there's the deception, there's the misinterpretation of the market, and that's what confuses the public. And it says, well, they say, well, now I'll wait because prices are going up.
That's it.
You-
And
You
And
turn
then-
that into, and Michael and I are gonna talk about the interest rates, you turn that
Right.
into the correlation with the interest
Right.
rates, they could actually lose money by waiting.
Yes.
Sure.
yes.
I want to tell the viewers that if they have a question that they would like to call in, you can call in live at 516-702-5406. Or you can text message or email. You can text it to that number or email realtyconnectslongisland@gmail.com. Kristen should be having that on the screen. I think that's important right now because again, this is
Yeah.
a lot of information to take on and to not misinterpret what you are saying. Even a regular viewer, even if they're not one of your agents, or
Oh,
they work
absolutely.
for another company,
Absolutely.
you can call in and participate in the conversation. Please know
Mhm.
that, right?
Yeah,
It would be
that'd be
fun. So, getting back to this.
Wow.
Yeah?
Actually, there's somebody, we'll take that in a minute, but actually, people are texting. me.
Okay,
That's exciting.
good.
That's great.
All
I'm
right,
glad you
that's
said that.
great.
That's
Yeah,
great.
here we
Yeah.
go. We want to hear
That's
it.
great.
Okay, so before we get to that question, this is the kind of news that's out there. And as a home buyer or seller, which I'm both right now, you guys know that, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna hold on to my real estate and hold out, and I'm gonna get my price.
Okay, and if you hold out for that price, how long are you planning on holding? Because if
Exactly.
you're holding, when John starts talking about interest rates a little bit later, that may wind up costing you money. Because the
Okay.
rate of the interest rates may outpace the modest value rates that are going up.
Right.
Because it gets right back to what John was saying, which is that middle or upper price range, and you can talk a little bit about the upper price range is absolutely, the luxury market is on fire.
Right.
It's absolutely on fire, and I suspect you're bumping from a middle priced home in your area to a luxury home, and perhaps your
Right.
final
Sure.
home you're gonna raise your children, you know, at the next stage of life.
Right.
That's important because the interest rate may outpace the value.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah, but you remember we talked last week about the interest rates, and the chief economist for Freddie Mac and the chief economist for Fannie Mae, and those are the two largest secondary lending institutions in the nation. They hold most of the mortgages in the entire nation.
A lot of
Both
people don't know
said,
that. That's a very important
Yeah.
piece of information, what he just said.
Why?
People think, well, I get my loans from here, 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 because
Right.
they set the bar.
Okay.
they buy all those loans, and then banks service the loans. So
Okay.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have all the loans in their portfolio, and you may be paying your payment to Bank of America, you may be paying your payment to another company. They don't hold the loan, they're just servicing it, collecting the money and sending it off to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Mhm.
And the control by the Federal Reserve and what's going on with the interest rates is not controlled by Fannie Mae. However, Fannie Mae said, and Freddie Mac said, that the the market wouldn't be uncomfortable with a rate of 6.5% to 7%. Within 2 weeks of each other, they both came out and said that.
Wow.
So,
They know each other.
that means, yes, but basically that means that they're heading in that kind of a direction. Now, I'm not saying in the next 6 months
No,
that
no,
the
no,
rates
no,
will be
no, no.
6.5% or 7%,
Right.
but certainly if they go up,
Right.
and there's a direct correlation, right, Michael, if rates go up, prices go
Yes.
down or
Yes.
level off.
Very interesting, right?
And when that happens, that first-time buyer group, when those rates start to shift, we lose a percentage of those buyers because they fall off that bubble where they can afford it. We need the first-time buyers to continue to buy, so we move, so that that middle group then moves to the luxury market. And the luxury market is absolutely on fire because the rates are so incredible, and those people know, I better jump on these now. I'm gonna get them at a very fair price. The market's stable,
Mhm.
but my rates may price me out. So I better buy now.
Right.
Yeah.
And the person buying down from those luxury homes at a different phase of their life,
Right.
they may be saying, well, I need to downsize now. I'm gonna go to another part of the island to live, or I'm gonna move out of state. Well, where they're going, that's also a stabilizing market. And there's a whole group of people buying those as well.
Right.
They need to buy them now before they're worth more money and their nest egg is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you touched on a key point, Michael. We do we handle houses in every price range,
Right.
from $50,000 on up to, and everybody's gonna call in on the $50,000
I know. I was
house
just
now,
gonna
but
say.
on up to multi-million-dollar houses. And we've, in the last 6 months, we've listed and/or sold 145 houses between $650 and $3.4 million.
Wow.
And that's the pepper that's in that market, that's the
Right.
excitement that's in that marketplace.
Yeah, that
So
tells you a
if you
lot.
have one of those houses, now's a good time, basically, to consider getting it on the market, and of course with Realty Connect.
Of
Who
course.
else would you go to? But getting it on the market now is extremely important, because there is a pool of buyers that are now out there to buy those houses, as Michael said, before the rates go up. Because
Okay.
think of the rate going up 1% on a jumbo loan, how much that will cost a buyer when they're in a $2.5 million price range.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, are your agents, are they specialized in a certain price range, or do you feel that your agents are specific to area? I remember in the real estate industry, when I first got into it, they said, you know, pick an area and stay with that area. What do you like to teach your agents about how they should cultivate their marketplace?
I can answer that, I'm sure Michael can answer that. There are agents that do have specific areas and
Right.
concentrate on those areas, but the
The
way
industry's
our
changed so
company's
much.
set up and the way
That's
the
what I
industry
think.
has changed.
has changed so
Completely
much.
changed.
The buying public has so many more ways to get to you.
Right.
You really need to be an expert and to be talented in all those price ranges in a given area. And the thing that's really exciting, since when you were in the business is, and Realty Connect is completely designed this way, our agents can work anywhere on Long Island with clarity, understanding, they know the markets,
Right.
whether they're working out of a Babylon, Bayshore area, or they're working east of that, or they're working in the middle of the island, in around Concomer, Holbrook, Holtzville area, or they come over to the North Shore and they're working the Huntington markets. They can work shore to shore because they have all those resources in front of them, and the industry has demanded
Right.
that you have that type of fluency in your business.
Sure.
I know the
Realty
industry
Connect-
demanded, and I agree with you, but I'm not sure every company
I
is
was about to
doing
say
what we
that.
do.
I was about to say they
I
are.
mean, we constantly update the information, the charts, the statistics, the information that the agents have. We update we actually do a zip code report. We can tell you changes in values by zip code.
Hmm.
We constantly update our
Fast.
information.
Very fast.
Right.
We study what's going on nationally, what's going on locally, and our agents get the information they need, that they're very, very prepared when they sit in front of a consumer, so that they can decipher this information for a consumer, so that they can make an intelligent decision about
Sure.
marketing their home.
And of course, if they're going to be watching the show and calling in, should we take that question?
You want to take a question?
Great.
Let's take
You
a
have a
question.
question
Let's see what we
for
got.
Okay, so the question that we had came in, it said, my mother wants to sell her house. Do you recommend putting it on the market now, or wait to see if the prices will go up? That is from Jack in Setauket.
I think we kind of just answered that.
Yeah,
but,
but we just
good
really
answer.
reviewed it,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're not.
Jack, call your mom now
Yeah.
and tell
Don't wait.
her you should get a good Realty Connect agent and get that house on the market as quick as possible.
Price it right, price it fairly, you'll sell the house timely for all the reasons we just told you. The rate, the market, the supply and demand specifically in that community is balanced. So mom should understand it's time to move to that next step wherever mom's going, and get on the market now.
What a really good son.
Yeah.
Well, my kids are like that, right? They're looking to sell real estate.
Right. Isn't that the cycle?
Maybe
They
he's one of
take
your
care of
agents
us,
looking
and
to
then
make sure he
eventually
gets
we
a
take care of
sale.
them.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely,
that's the cycle.
definitely. So I can't wait to speak to Dennis in a little
Yeah.
while. I do want to ask you something. You were just in Newsday, I believe it was yesterday. Tell us a little bit about the article. I caught it. I know you didn't even know.
Oh,
It was,
the
it was
house,
about the house
oh,
in
yeah,
Setauket.
that-
That was Jonas's
Yeah,
first
you
$1
called me
million
yesterday.
house.
I didn't even know it went in the paper, but
Right.
what was exciting about that house was that home, it's actually on Main Street in Stony Brook Village.
Mhm.
And the first millionaire that ever lived in the Stony Brook area
Built that house.
built that house and lived in that house.
That's pretty cool.
And it's amazing. I think we had over like 2,500 people went and looked at the house from all over, asking all kinds of questions, and it was fun because I didn't even know
Yeah.
that happened. And there's an example of a nice village house with great history.
Sure.
And you need to know the history of a house, and I just shared that. I didn't even know it was going to hit Newsday, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's
fun.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we should know about the mortgage rates right now?
Yes, definitely. But I just, that's like a warm spot. That touches something because Long
got
Island
all
has
fuzzy?
so many great villages, so
I
many
know.
great communities, and Port Jeff Harbor, and Sayville and Setauket and Stone, all
Babylon
these
Village
great
is
towns.
gorgeous.
Babylon Village, Huntington.
I know.
Long Island is just a great, great place to live.
I know.
It really is. It
I
offers
know.
you anything you want. From beaches to boating,
Now it's getting mushy.
everything is there. So no, I love it.
Yeah, let's get
And it's so-
mushy about
when
Long
you hear a
Island.
story like that,
Yeah.
though, and
Yeah,
I know
it's
Dennis
beautiful.
actually has one of the most incredible
That's gonna be
stories.
so
So we
much
bring
fun.
Dennis
Wait
up.
till you
You
hear
gotta
Dennis'
hear this
story.
story. This blew my mind.
Really?
So I'll do a quick thing about the rates, and then we'll bring Dennis up.
Okay.
We actually have a chart.
Okay.
This is let's go right to the chart if we can, because this is so important. If you look at this.
Well, this speaks to all the points.
If a buyer is qualified by a mortgage company for a certain payment,
Okay,
all right, then that would be the maximum payment that they can make on a home,
okay,
all right? So if we assume that the rates are, and I'm looking at this, the buyer would qualify at 4% at $1,910 a month. That's the most they can pay for their mortgage, and that would entitle them to be in the price range of $400,000.
right,
If the rates go up just 1%, they would lose $40,000 of their purchase power.
wow,
So now, not only is the seller losing a buyer in that price range, but the buyer is losing the ability to purchase the home of their dreams, and they'll be paying substantially more for the house and getting less house.
And that buyer's gone.
Yeah.
That
Right.
buyer's gone. That $40,000 just forced them to a lower place, which is why pricing is so important when you're on the market right now. Priced fairly,
Right.
correct.
and your agents are obviously so educated in sitting down with the buyer.
Absolutely.
And with the seller,
Both.
Very
100%.
Both sides.
Yeah.
and they
Both
need to
sides.
let them know, listen, you're out of your reality
This is a great
check.
chart.
And if you think about this, in perspective, if a buyer is saying, well, I want to wait for the price to come down, I'll offer them this much money, I want them to come down $10,000 on the price before I purchase it, and while they're negotiating on it, the rates go up 1%, they've paid $40,000 more for the house. That
Right.
$10,000 means nothing, so you can't really shop by price at this
Right.
point in time, you want to shop by rate.
Okay.
You want
That
to
makes
get
sense.
the house now,
Right.
because a $20,000 price reduction actually is not as much as a 1% rate increase. You're going to pay more for the house.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, really learned something new. Again, if you want to call in and if you have any questions, call or text 516-702, that's 702-5406, or email realtyconnectsli@gmail.com. We love to hear your questions, and you can continue to call that line or email, and we will put you on the shows next week. Can we get to Dennis Murphy? Because I'm done to talk.
Let's get to Dennis
okay?
Murphy. Yeah.
Okay. Dennis Murphy now, one of your stellar agents, and one of many though. I mean, really, I've
Yes.
met quite a few.
We have over 400 agents in the company.
And
so-
that's, but Dennis, he won an award, top 20 under 40 years old of Rising Stars by Young Professional Network. Only 20 people get that award. I
Yes.
mean, you guys must be like
We were so
proud.
Yeah, very
happy for him,
proud.
and he
Right?
very well deserved.
And that award is not our company award. That's the award from the Long Island Board of Realtors with 20,000 members.
Yeah,
So
I know you
that's
guys
a-
commend
that's
within the company a
An
great
impressive
deal.
award.
And I'm sure he has plenty of awards within the
Yeah.
company, but
Yes.
that is really
Yep.
Yeah.
something significant. So
Let's-
Dennis, let's bring you
get
on.
Let's get Dennis up
Right.
here. Dennis, how are you?
Thank you,
Great,
thank you, thank you.
great you're here.
Congratulations, Dennis.
Dennis,
Thank you.
thank you.
Pleasure to see you as
It's
always.
really nice to see you again. Dennis, I know, I've spoken to you before, I know your feeling for the company here and the culture, the overall culture that Realty Connects has,
Come here.
yeah. pull
Slide
it
into
a
the
little
camera,
closer.
Dennis.
This is a very
There you go.
casual show, you know. How do you feel about being sitting next to these guys that just are so educated, but, you know, you're,
Michael and John have actually transformed my career. I worked for the company that has the most agents on the island for about 5 years. I made the decision to move to Realty Connect about a year and a half ago, best decision I ever made.
Right.
For us too.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis.
That's
Really,
awesome.
Realty Connect is more of, the people's real estate company in my mind. Where I was previously at, it was all about the numbers, and, I'm not a numbers person, I'm a people person,
Right.
so.
Right, we see that with you. I mean, I've spoken to you a number of times before, and I feel that you really connect. And I guess that's part of
Yeah,
why you decided the name. You
Without a
connect
doubt.
with the other agents, and you connect with your buyers.
Ask him about his story.
Just-
Talk about
you gotta
connecting.
Can we,
You gotta
Ask him
talk
about
listen,
his story.
they didn't write
That's a file,
the, can
yeah.
you tell me the story?
Talk about connections, making the connection. This is
Tell
what
us-
it's all
tell
about.
us
The
about it.
engagement one, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
tell me the other
I got
one.
so
I
many
like that.
stories.
He's got a bunch of stories.
But yesterday, one of my buyers contacted me, told me how much he enjoyed, the process with me, and how, us working together changed their life. So he wanted me to be involved in another life-changing experience for him. So what he did yesterday was asked me if I could be part of his engagement proposal.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what I'm doing, I set up a special showing at the house that they're purchasing, closing in a couple weeks. We're gonna tell the future, hopefully future wife, hopefully.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to
yeah.
do
Wait,
it.
Dennis, we can't let her see this, right?
No.
This is going to happen.
This is gonna happen, I'm
Wow.
gonna do it on Sunday. We're gonna tell her that we're gonna go and measure some space up.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be the lead person on their engagement proposal. I'm gonna open up
Right.
the door
What a
and,
compliment. That's so-
but that's what real estate is for me, like, I get asked by all my clients, one lady, she calls me all the time, and I've done a couple deals with her, she wants me to come over and celebrate Christmas with their family.
Wow.
Every time there's a birthday party for my new home buyers, like a first time a birthday party,
Right.
they invite me, because,
Right.
that's the best part about being a real estate agent.
But don't you think that in any industry, when you're giving that, delivering that integrity, that customer service, that loyalty, in any industry, it's going to come back to you, and it really.
Humanizes what he does. He really
Yeah.
cares about his
Sure,
clients.
and that's evident throughout your entire company here. And the fact that that's going to trickle down to someone like Dennis, who's already a superstar in his own right, but that, he really feels the need to connect with his clients.
And every time there's a closing and the keys get handed over to the buyers, it's that feeling, you're just like, you actually did something with your time instead of working in an office. And, not saying office is a good thing, but for me, myself personally, I really feel like I need to help, people around me in the community.
Yeah, obviously you're doing that. Tell us, can you give us an industry tip or secret that you have?
Just be very prepared, make sure you know who you're working with.
Right.
There is, within any industry, there's 20,000 realtors on Long Island, maybe 10% are actually working as hard as, I do. Just,
Right.
making sure
You
everything
prove
is.
that. You prove that being in the top 20, that's for sure.
That's right.
You just gotta make sure everybody's prepared, because this isn't, a $20,000 car purchase. This is something that could either, make their life extremely positive or extremely negative. And if you don't have them on the right path to success, it could be really disastrous.
It's excellent advice for you to realize, to say that, even,
Yeah.
because I think that a lot of people might say, call or do, we hear a lot of training, but the fact that you're really
And
deep into the thought.
With Dennis, what amazed me, we had a panel discussion at one of our,
Yeah, that was a lot.
our meetings, and Dennis was on the panel, and unscripted questions, I asked him a question on the panel, and most real estate agents have, 4 or 5 buyers that they're working with.
Right.
And a few, clients that they're working with on the sale end. And Dennis has been so busy, and mostly by referrals. He does something with someone and he gets a referral from another person. So I just off the cuff, I said, Dennis, how many buyers is he working with? He said, 40. He's gotten 40 referrals in a time when most agents don't get 40 buyers in a year. He's
Right.
gotten them in a 2-month period of time because of the way he does business. And that's a
Right.
tribute to Dennis and the way he does business. And
Right.
that just breeds success for him.
It's
So,
really cool.
yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think if
It
everybody
really
ran
is.
their business the way, I was pretty much taught by Michael and John at
Right.
Realty Connect,
Right.
the business would be looked upon a little more positive than it has in the past, because I know some people, the lawyers and the realtors are always at the top, unappreciated, and I want to change that perception.
Yeah, wow.
You're doing it.
Now,
So
you
it's good.
specifically like to work with the buyers?
Yeah, I specifically like to work the buyers. just
Especially
'cause-
if they're gonna ask you like get involved in engagements
yeah.
and weddings and,
I could do a whole show and
Yeah.
stuff that my people have asked me to do, but, you know, to me, it's just more just making people's lives better, you know, helping them out, you know. 'cause
Right.
a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know,
it's life-changing,
Yeah,
Dennis.
I-
It's life-changing.
yeah, this month I sold 8 houses, we don't,
Wow.
I don't look at it as anything like that, I'm saying, you know what, I helped make 8 people's lives better.
Actually, you made 16 people's lives better.
I'm sure, yeah.
Sell it and buy it.
Speaking of questions, we have another question. I don't know if it is for Dennis or for you guys,
Okay.
but it came in. I am in the process of buying a home. The home has a deck. I was told it might not have a permit. So what does that mean? And I'm not sure what to do. This is Barbara, and Comac asks that. What do we need to tell Barbara about the deck and not having a permit? A lot of people, I think, do that, especially in a
Yeah,
home for a
it's a
long
good question.
time.
It's a
Yeah.
great question, and as a buyer, if you've never purchased before, and do you want, you want.
Dennis, take the question, man.
That's fine.
You're a guest. What would you tell her?
Well, I'd like, before I take anybody into a property, I like to find out if there are any CO issues right off the bat, so they know going into the house what they're gonna be facing in the future. It can be an issue if it's not handled correctly, but, you know, I just like to give everybody tips on how to, you know, how to go around it if it's a house they love. And it's a real simple procedure, you know, it just either filing for a permit or throw money into escrow account and it won't slow down the process, but,
Yeah, in this
I
case.
think it's the way, you
Yeah.
see, he makes it casual.
Uh-huh.
It won't slow down the process. That's not correct if you don't have the right person handling the
Exactly,
process. It can be an
exactly.
extended, difficult closing, it can be an extended
Challenge,
time
a
frame to
headache.
get the closing, it can be a challenge. So having the right advisor on it,
It's a great
hiring an expediter if you need
Yeah,
them,
expediter's
do you
the
have,
key.
do you need a variance for that deck, do
Okay.
you not need a variance? And doing your homework up front is extremely important but for this particular caller, if you're in the middle of the deal,
It doesn't-
and
it's not
nothing's
gonna-
been done,
It's not gonna stop the deal. It's
yeah.
just a matter of.
there are
lining it
ways
up
to
right.
do it.
Yes,
Exactly,
the-
there
The
are
best
ways
thing to
to
do
do it.
is to follow the steps that everyone has just said here. It won't stop the deal, it won't stop the closing. You just need to get people alerted. And again, you said it very casually because you.
Because you're good at it.
obviously
Yeah.
very good at it.
Right.
What he said there very simply was, he'll get involved, find out what stage it's in, he'll make sure the attorneys memorialize it into the contract, everyone will be aware of it, the closing will take place. It's a great question, and the fact that you asked at this step, you now know, speak to the attorneys, speak to the realtors,
Yeah.
and just to sum up what John just said, if you still haven't chosen a realtor, choose one that really is skilled, like Dennis,
Right.
to help you, because it will go as seamless as he made it sound.
Right,
Yeah.
look at that. So,
One of the things that, I don't know.
no, please, this is your show. I'm just here as a guest.
But one of the things we talked about last week, which is important to us, is to feature some of our properties on the show.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting towards the end of our show today, so I thought we might talk a little bit about some of the properties that have just come onto the
Yeah,
market
please.
with us.
Let's take
And
a
let
look.
some of those go out to the homeowners.
And-
And actually, this is one by Dennis Murphy.
Oh, look at that.
A recent listing.
address is incorrect, but it's 3 Evelyn Street in Wisconsin, beautiful home, built in 2006. Everything is clean as can be, they just refinished the basement about a year ago.
Looks beautiful.
369, about 8,000 in taxes. This one's gonna go real quick.
And tell him how to get a hold of you.
Call me anytime, email me, 631-521-1105.
Say that one more time.
631-521-1105, 24/7.
Text you.
24/7.
Yeah.
That is
Excellent.
service.
Yeah.
Now, on any of these, John, going forward, they can just go on.
They can go on the website, or they can actually text or email into the numbers that we've given you on the screen and the email, and we'll make sure that the agent who's handling the property gets that information.
This is a
So,
beautiful listing.
This is a great house. This
And
is
very inexpensive.
in central Islip, well done, all redone, completely done inside, 272,000. This one won't last long at all. This is a fabulous looking house, so don't miss this one. If you need a house, call in today. That's a great price and a
Yeah,
great
it's
house.
nice.
What else we got?
Oakdale?
Oh, one in Oakdale.
Wow,
Sounds nice.
look at this. A beautiful
High
high ranch, 2-car garage, new windows, siding, brick facade on it.
Nice curb appeal.
Yeah,
Lots
quarter of an
gardening,
acre.
Right.
This with a fireplace and a Florida room, signage to the deck,
Nice
which I'm
and
sure has a
simple.
seal.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah, this is fabulous.
That's not Barbara's listing.
Don't miss this one, all right?
Well, here's one in
419.
Huntington. This one is Huntington. Mrs. Clean lives here. This one presents very, very well. And oh,
Oh,
this is
here's
the one
our
I just talked
listing.
about. This is the first millionaire's house in Stony Brook.
Wow, that's
Stony
pretty
Brook's a
neat.
talking area, beautiful home. Goes, it dates back to the 1830s. In fact, the family selling this house, the woman that's selling this house grew up in this house.
Wow.
So it was her mother's house, she grew up in the house, she's now a lady that's older and is selling the house and knows all the history on this house.
Fantastic, a great person to talk to, even if you don't buy the house, at least talk to
A
her.
lot of history.
What do we have here?
Oh, this is
Oakdale, what a
interesting.
charming looking house that is, in Oakdale,
Yeah.
$350,000, what a great price. Don't
Very
miss this
sweet.
one, give a call, you got Lisa Albanowski and Jim Smith on this property.
Also, two other wonderful agents.
There's one in
It's
Huntington?
Huntington. Yeah, nice piece of property on that, two-car garage, beautiful Cape Cod home, charming house, really a charming house,
2.5 baths,
fabulous.
Nicely kept.
detailed moldings.
Central air, everything's up and running, and this one ready to go. If you want a house in Huntington, give us a call.
Scott Sherman. Go ahead, John, you want to take
What do we got? Oh, this is Setauket.
Oh,
Sue
this is-
Palatoy's house in Setauket. Look at the back.
Fire
Yeah, with
pit.
a fire pit, patio furniture, what a
May
great
take a
looking
look at that
house.
one for
I want to
myself.
be there now.
Nice porch.
I want to be there
Nice
now.
screened in,
Yeah.
three-season porch there.
Fantastic house, $899, that's a great, great location, super house, master bedroom suite, fabulous 5-bedroom house, great landscaping, obviously a beautiful patio and a fire pit. And that's just some of the inventory that we have. We have thousands, I'm telling you, of houses here on Realty Connect from every price range. Yes, we do have houses for $50,000. And we go up into the multi-million-dollar brackets.
Mhm.
So if you're thinking of buying or selling a house, you have a need for information, please just give us a call. You don't have to buy anything, you don't have to sell anything. If you need information about the real estate market, or you're in the process of making a decision about real estate, whether it's here or anywhere else in the nation, we'll be happy to help you and give you as much advice as we possibly can. That's what we're here for. We live in the community, this is our community, Long Island's our place. We love it here and we'll help anybody else in this community.
And we'll see you next week on Realty Connects Long Island. Looking forward to it.
What are we gonna expect next week? Any news yet? We're gonna do current
Oh,
events, more
We've got a
listings.
tremendous amount of information coming out next week that's gonna
Okay.
help
And if
people.
anyone wants to text us with anything
Yeah,
that
do
they'd
so
like
in
us to
the-
talk about, we'll be happy to incorporate that in. In fact, we'd love to see that.
Are we gonna have another guest too? I'd love
Oh,
another
yeah,
agent.
Absolutely,
We'll have another
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so,
All right.
listen, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks,
on the Daily
everybody.
Booth. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you,
For having
Corinne,
us.
thanks Dennis.
Thanks,
We'll see you
Dennis.
next week.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right,
Dennis.
thank
See
you.
you next week.